got Universe and Creation Suite news for WWE 2K26, and it is very, very exciting. I've taken a bunch of notes of the major talking points I want to talk about and discuss in this video. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all brand new from the Pro Wrestling Shoot YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to his video in the description down below. If you want to watch the entire interview with the two developers, go and do that. We're going to be talking about the main parts that I saw and that stood out to me in that interview. I'm very excited for WWE 2K26, and there's some very exciting parts in this little video. Ladies and gentlemen, leave a thumbs up if you are ready for WWE 2K26, and let me know in the comments down below what you are most looking forward to. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's dive in. Starting off with some Universe Mode news, we have the Creation Wizard, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this came out in one of the early news articles from 2K, and no one really knew what the Creation Wizard was going to be. I had some little ideas, and now we actually know what it is, ladies and gentlemen. So, the Universe Wizard is a streamline to the calendar. You can enable or disable certain shows. You can import custom shows from your game, which I love. I hated having to make the custom show in Play Now and then having to remake it all in Universe. So the fact that you can just import them now, that is very cool. This all happens before you even start your Universe Mode. So you'll click on Universe Mode, and then you'll have the option to go into the Creation Wizard. You can choose yes or no, and you can fine tune all of those little details. What shows you want, what superstars you want, what titles you want, and stuff like that. You can change around your pay-per-views and basically set up your Universe Mode before even starting, because normally it throws you right into the first show, whereas now you might not want a show on that first Monday. You might want your first show to be on Tuesday or Wednesday. So with the Creation Wizard, it just gives you that bit more fine-tuning, bit more quality of life to fully flesh out your Universe Mode calendar before actually starting a show, which I like. That's cool. I will be using that. We're going to be bouncing between Universe Mode and Creation because it was interviewing two people at once. So up next, we have the body morphing, the face morphing, and we actually have a couple pictures of this, ladies and gentlemen. In the 2K Discord, they announced this really secretly, and then on Twitter, they was like, hey, go over to our Discord. They basically showed a picture of the body morphing, and body morphing is fully back now, which I really like. He was saying that you can press randomize, and it gives you all these random body morphs, which I think will be very fun. I think there's going to be some creepy creations on 2K26, which is always fun, and also a bit more realism as well, because some superstars have maybe thinner legs or bigger thighs, bigger chest, but smaller arms. You know, some people's bodies are built differently, and I think it makes it a bit more realistic, especially in e-feds like I run, of having every superstar look unique and feel unique, having different body types, and especially with 200 slots now, we was going to run into people using the same body types, whereas with body morphing, even if you choose the same body type to begin with, you can then morph it completely how you want, and each superstar can look unique and look different, have their uniqueness about them, which I really like. He was saying you can go crazy with it. You can go as far as you want with the morphing bodies and faces. You know, you can have skinny legs, heavy bodies, a lot of customization, a lot of uniqueness with the body morphing, which I'm very excited about. And also, staying on Creation, there was also a picture on Twitter about the hair, and this one looked very cool, because again, I think hair dye has always been very difficult in 2K. Some people in community creations are really good with it, and they have this amazing hair dye. I have no idea how they do it. I tried to dye the hair in the game. Oh goodness, it looks like an infant with a crayon scribbling on a wall, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely disgustingly terrible. Now you can have two tones of hair, so you can have like blue and red hair or blonde and brown hair, and you can choose where you know, if you want it to be blended in the middle, on the side, on the back, on the tips, whatever, and you can fully choose where and how it is blended together, which I think is absolutely incredible. Again, the extra customization is all that we want as, you know, superstar creators and show creators. We want that extra bit of customization, and it sounds like we are finally getting it with Create a Superstar, with the morphing and with the hair. I think it's going to be very good. He also said you can do the beards as well, so you can have like two-tone beards and dye them differently. I think that'll be good. Some people in my e-fed have like, you know, graying beards or like ginger beards or something like that, and you can fully customize them too, which I think is amazing. In Universe Mode, they've been talking about new promos joining Universe Mode. Of course, 2K25, we got the return of promos, and honestly, it was very lackluster. I think in the entire year in RPW, I think we used promos maybe 3 or 4 times tops. All of them had a voiceover. You know, there's no text on screen. It's just someone standing there. It's very robotic. It's very lackluster. They have added a few extra promos, which actually sound kind of cool and sound like I might actually use them more in RPW. There was now a face and a heel turn, so they didn't show us anything, obviously, or go too much into detail, but I'm assuming, you know, the face heel would be them coming out, maybe apologizing to the crowd, pumping up the crowd, stuff like that. A heel turn maybe coming out and, you know, calling whatever city you're in, hey, your football team sucks. That's normally how WWE superstars turn heel these days. You know, stuff like that, which is pretty cool. There's also change divisions, change shows, which I think is very, very cool as well. Of maybe someone comes out and slanders the show they're on and says, my talents will be better on, you know, Monday Night Raw. I'm going to go over there. So being able to change show via promo and division, you know, I'm coming for that United States Championship. I don't want to go for the Universal anymore. You know, stuff like that, I think could be very, very cool. Again, I wish there was, even if they used AI for it, just like text on screen, or, you know, I don't expect them to have voice acting, obviously, but just something other than them just going, you know, because I get universe mode. You need, you know, your imagination. And again, I have a community we like do, you know, voiceovers and stuff like that. But even still, it's like, you know, you need a bit more in your cutscenes, I think, in your promos. But I think the additions are cool. Changing show, changing division, here, heel and face turn as well. There was also an inclusion where champions actually hold their titles now, which I think are very cool. So let's say you are the Universal Champion and you want to cut a promo. You will now come out with your championship on one hand and your microphone in another. Which I think is very nice. They didn't talk about having a render with your championship, like, you know, when you go into your custom superstar and you click on like your stance, your match card stance. I wish you could have like one with a championship. You can't, I don't think, at least. But at least walking down with a promo, if it's over the shoulders, you know, what I might do is like screenshot them holding their championship and use that as your render. But that's, you know, just an extra thing I was thinking of. They also said it doesn't work with champ vs champ. So if you do two champions in a promo, only one, I'm assuming the one doing the promo, will have their belt, the other one don't. He said they haven't figured out how to do that yet. So that's another thing. Also, no backstage promos. They are all in the ring still. However, there's now a post-match interview promo you can do, where let's say you're in a match and you win the match, you know, you can cut a promo basically saying, I should be going for that championship, I should be number one contender, I should get a title match, and then that can then trigger the champion to come down the ramp and have a little face off. So again, a nice little promo there. I don't know how much I'm going to use promos in RPW per se, but I think it's a couple nice additions regardless. Create an arena and create a championship. These were two big ones, ladies and gentlemen. We create a lot of arenas in RPW. We create a lot of championships in RPW. Oh, by the way, I'm talking about RPW. You might be new here. Regents Pro Wrestling is my custom e-fed with my community. We are live every Monday, Thursday, and Friday right here on this channel. Click on the live tab on this channel and you'll see all of our former live shows, ladies and gentlemen. We have a spreadsheet link in the description with all of the history of RPW. If you want to join, become a YouTube member, join our Discord, and I can let you know in the Discord how to fully get involved. We have a promo channel where everyone role plays as their superstars. We have a new show, Origin, starting in season 5. It's going to be very exciting. Watch RPW. Create an arena. We now finally have LED barricade support, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is going to be used for Origin, that old school, you know, NXT type of feel to it. LED barricade support, I think, is absolutely amazing. I'm hoping it, I wish we could have, like, you know, like the big, like, screens that they used to have in NXT. That would be cool as well. But having LED barricades, I think, could be very cool, depending if you have, you know, a custom Tron and stuff like that. But I think it's a nice little addition. Apparently, there's more options. There's more variety. There's extra variety to customizing announce tables and ring mats, they said. They didn't go too into detail, but I don't know what you can do with announce tables and ring mats. Maybe they have the new announce desk. Maybe you can change the style of the announce desk to have like older styles. I don't really know. That's all they said. He also said there's expanding and refreshed Creator Championship. They're trying to make it more smoother building experience for the users, ladies and gentlemen. Now, they did say, and based on how they was talking, it kind of sounded like this, they're focusing for future games. They're building for future games. So while not major improvements in 2K26, they're laying the foundations to then, in future games, build upon those foundations, which I understand. I didn't expect a massive overhaul in the first game, you know, or in the next game, in the first game only in current gen. We've dropped last gen now, of course. So they said they're going to be building for the future. They did say there's some more surprises, but they wanted to keep it close to chest. They don't want to say. So whether that's like a Triple H new era surprise and nothing happens, or it's an actual big surprise and we're shocked by it, we have to wait for the game to come out. But new surprises I'm excited about. In the bank cash-ins, this has also been teased about, and now we finally got information. There is a new prompt to cash in Money in the Bank. Now, I was hoping there was going to be a few new additions to Money in the Bank, not just one, but we now have a new prompt. Basically, whilst you are in a match, you can press R1 and triangle, or RB and Y for Xbox, I think. R1 and triangle whilst in a one-on-one title match, so it doesn't work in multi-man still. It's just one-on-one. R1 and triangle, and when the conditions are met, so it might be like a rivalry cutscene where the superstar has to be injured a certain amount or knocked out of the ring or something like that, then the person with the briefcase comes running down instantly. You don't have to pause it and do cash-in. You don't have to plan it beforehand. You can be in a match and on the fly go, this would be a good moment. You know, maybe someone goes for an announcer's desk and you can think, this will be a good moment to cash in. R1 triangle, and they can run in and cash in, which again, I think is cool. I think we do need more cash-in opportunities and more variety in our cash-ins. So that does sound very, very cool. Back to creation. As for the face and logo mapping, there's been a lot of maintenance for user experience. Of course, we know now we have 200 core slots, which I am so excited about. More logo and image slots as well, which is just absolutely fantastic. I've spoken about that before. I'm an eFed owner. Like I say, I want as many people in RPW as possible. So now that we have 200 slots, I am just so very, very happy. But yeah, with the logo and face mapping, they basically said it's just going to be easier, more streamlined for the user experience. I'm hoping with the logo images that you put on tights and stuff, it stops that whole like warping effect around the leg. I hate that. People who create superstars will know what I mean. But again, we're going to have to wait to see when we get the game. For that, we have the watch show mode. Now, I was very intrigued about watch show mode. Again, I have an eFed, which is AI vs AI. All I do in WWE games is watch the matches in universe mode. So I was very excited about this. It's basically what I thought it was going to be, though, which I'm not disappointed per se. It's just what I thought it was going to be. I was hoping there was going to be a bit more to it, where basically you click watch show mode in the on the match card. You can press start, and it will basically take you through the show without having to press any buttons. Very streamlined. So it'll play the little opening movie of the show, show you where it is. I don't think there's show intros. He did ask about them, and they didn't confirm them. So I don't think show intros are back, but it basically plays the short little intro of like just showing the arena and showing where you are, and then it will play right into the first entrance. Your person will enter, your next person will enter, the match will go. You can join the match at any moment if you want, but the match will play, and after the match, it will seamlessly go into the next match. Now, again, I don't know how I feel about that, because normally on our live streams, we like to talk a bit in between matches. You know, we don't want to just go match. You want to talk a bit, and especially if a big story moment happens, or like a squash match, a title changes hands, you don't want to jump straight into the next match. You want to actually talk a bit first. So again, I don't know how much I'm going to use this. Obviously, I'll try it out in some shows, see how it works, see if people enjoy it. I was just hoping there was going to be a bit more. I was hoping it was going to be more the case of you can choose which superstar's going to win, and then the match plays out. I don't think that's ever going to be in, because it sounds like a lot for, you know, game devs and coding and whatnot. But it would have been very cool to be able to say, okay, I want John Cena to win this match, and then you just watch AI vs AI. You know John Cena's going to win. Like, you don't have to control them, but it just plays out a whole match. That would be amazing. I don't think that's the case, but it's still something new. They mentioned eFeds, funny enough, when they was talking about watch show mode. Both of the 2K guys mentioned eFeds and mentioned enjoying eFeds, the creativity of eFeds. No RPW mention, which I found very strange. Maybe it's because they know we're better than them and they copy, well, WWE copies us, not 2K, but watch RPW. They mentioned eFeds, which I think is cool. They know people like eFeds. They know people like Universe and AI vs AI. And in my mind, if they're fans of eFeds and they know eFeds are a thing, hopefully they start to make the game catered towards eFed runners and, you know, AI vs AI universe mode creation, stuff like that. I just thought it was kind of cool that they mentioned eFeds and the whole eFed space, so shout out. About the ringside pass, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before we get into the draft, I wanted to keep the draft for last because that is a big exciting thing. They spoke a bit about the ringside pass, and they basically said they're trying to figure out a good medium. He was kind of skittish about answering this. They basically said the ringside pass right now is not finalized in terms of how easy or difficult it is to actually earn RXP. There's going to be 120 rewards per season at least. I think the ringside pass is going to split a lot of the fan base, a lot of people on whether they like it or not. I think it's just going to be a case of, you know, we have to wait and see how it actually works. I think more content is good, but if you're locking content that we already had for free behind the Ringside Pass is kind of weird. Again, I don't really know. As long as I can earn XP by AI vs AI, like if I can watch RPW and earn XP and I don't have to physically play the matches, I will be so happy. Even though I will be playing this game a lot more than previous 2K games, still earning extra XP just by sitting and watching AI, that would be amazing. I don't know if they're going to allow that, but we shall see. Now, on to the final part of this video. The draft in universe mode is back, and it actually sounds really cool. It actually sounds better than I thought it was going to be. I was actually surprised about this. I thought it was just going to be a thing of like a little menu or something, and like you put people on different shows. No, it's actually a full-fledged thing, ladies and gentlemen. So they said that the draft is back, and there's a lot of fixes for it to be in the game compared to the old games. They've been aware of the draft mode, but they couldn't quite figure out how to get it in the game without breaking the game until now. So they wanted to make it closer to TV. It's its own event, ladies and gentlemen, a week-long event on your RPW, on your universe mode calendar. And it you can only have a maximum of 8 draft within a universe mode save. So within your save, I'm assuming it refreshes each like calendar. Like, you know, after you go to WrestleMania, it goes to the next show. It says, oh, you're going to advance. You can't go back. I'm assuming each time you pass WrestleMania, the 8 resets. It's not like 8 forever. I'm hoping, at least. He didn't actually say that, but I'm assuming that's what he means. You can have a maximum of 8 draft throughout the calendar year or throughout your save. You have 2 participating shows, which is good. We have World Wars and Fury. You can also have a supplement show like NXT, like Origin for us, like for rookies and stuff. I'm assuming it will actually take into account their supplement show. They won't have as many draft picks, which is perfect for what I want to do, ladies and gentlemen. The draft takes place over a number of rounds. Each show takes their pick. There's custom rounds and custom draft picks, and there's a lot of freedom and rules, ladies and gentlemen. So you can toggle on and off if you want champions to be able to be traded, if you want teams to be able to be traded, if you want teams to be able to be split up in the draft and go to do separate shows, which sounds very cool. There's a lot of different toggles, legends, free agents, and stuff like that. Also, it's an actual event where you have cutscenes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, they said that general managers can be assigned to shows like Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis. I wrote down in my notes in brackets, does it work for creator wrestlers, ladies and gentlemen? Does it work for cores? That's always my question with these new things. They normally bring stuff in, and then it doesn't work for a creator wrestler, and I get really sad. If I can have my own custom core, be a general manager, and come out and like be on stage reacting with a microphone to the draft, I will be happy. I will be so happy. It will be so cool if you can do that, ladies and gentlemen. But there's little cutscenes and little pictures of, they go to their podiums, and it's a little, picture-in-picture of the draft coming up, and then they react to it. Oh my God, he's going here, which I think is really cool. I'm interested to see how it works. We will be doing a draft for RPW in the game. We're going to be using this system for the first time ever. So I'm really interested to see how it works in terms of, you know, do you make all your draft picks first, and then you press a button and it plays through the draft picks? Or are there matches in between the draft picks? You know, how seamless is it? I mean, you know, I might have to test it out first before we do our actual one, just to see how the draft actually works. But it does sound very cool. It sounds better than I expected, which I'm very excited about. There was a quick bit about layers, which has been spoken about. Layers are very different, sorry. Nothing's been removed, but we've been added to our layers. Body and head, you get 40 points each. Ring attire 1 and 2, you get 60 per attire. So 60 for ring attire 1, 60 for entrance. Entrance 1, entrance 2, ring attire 1, ring attire 2, you get 60 per. So we've gone from, I think it was 60 total layers to over 200 for each individual creative wrestler, which again, I think is absolutely amazing. And then to end off, they was talking about surprises, and they basically said customization options and fine-tuning universe to see how it lands, to see how it works. How much value is underneath the hood is insane, they said. Overall stats, you can tinker with little details and power tools. Apparently you can, like, with a couple button presses, you can just wipe all of the history of a championship. You can remove all managers and tag teams and stuff like that. They've made a lot of quality of life little tweaks, which I am very appreciative of. You can remove all managers, all stats and stuff like that. You can have a complete fresh start in universe where you just wipe everything and start fresh. Also, create a show added more options. There's more themes for the Creator Show, and there's now day and night settings for arenas, you know, across like 2-day pay-per-view. So when you're doing watch show mode, if you're watching in night 1, you can have the day arena. Night 2 can be night, and it transitions from one to the other, which sounded very, very cool. And that was mainly the most important stuff that they spoke about. I think, you know, standing out to me, the draft is very, very impressive. Of course, it's probably going to be something you use, you know, not very often, because, you know, you won't want to draft every single week. That kind of defeats the purpose. So maybe you have it at the beginning, maybe you have it halfway through, or like randomizer in RPW, you might get a draft, something like that. But the draft sounds very, very cool. I'm excited to see how it goes. A lot of quality of life features sound very, very cool. I think as long as the gameplay is really good with the AI sequences and stuff like that, I think this is going to be the game. I think this is going to be the best universe mode experience we've had in a long, 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 long time. They didn't mention any of the new cutscenes or at the fact that there is new cutscenes or not. So I don't know if just, you know, the 1 or 2 promo and Money in the Bank ones are the only new ones we're getting. If we're getting any new ones, I don't know. I'm hoping there's more freedom. I'm hoping there's a few more cutscenes at least. I mean, I want more than a few, but as long as we get a few, I'll be happy with it. Creating Arena and Creator Championship sound fun as well. And the Creation Wizard to kick off Universe Mode also sounds fun. So now we got to keep an eye out for the Ringside report. There may be some extra information in there we don't know. But overall, I think I was at like an 8.2 or 7.7 last video. I think I'm at like an 8.5, 8.6. Maybe pushing an 8.8, ladies and gentlemen. I am so excited. I might be pushing a 9, actually. I want to play the game. I want to create RPW. I'm just so excited for this game. I've already pre-ordered. I'm doing giveaways in my Discord as well, so join the Discord. I've already given away 2 versions of Monday Night Wars, and I'm actually doing a giveaway of the Standard Edition on Twitter right now. Yeah, I'm spending a lot of money on this game, but I'm excited, ladies and gentlemen. Watch RPW, and I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe if you haven't already. Much of us always take care, and this is who we are.